Hey, everybody. Please jump on here real quick as I don't have an intro song. I used to have an intro song. I don't anymore. What I need for you guys to do, wherever you're watching me from, is if you could please hop on this broadcast and tell me in the comments if the broadcast is clear. That I need to know that for my own peace of mind. I've changed the boom arm of the mic because, you know, I had that Gelato thing. I'm not sure if it's called a Gelato boom mic, but it was hanging from the side of my desk. The only trouble with that is that it had all this action here in this space here. So I got rid of that, and I've instead opted for a mic stand, which is right beside me. And, you know, I think it's gotten out of the way of the visual aesthetics of this broadcast. Tell me in the comments if you agree with that. I need to know if I am loud. Bo Allen, I am loud and clear, totally clear in here. Morning. Hey, thank you. Thank you, Bo. Hey there. Morning, Simon. Good morning to you. Good morning, Bo. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to spend a few moments with me here on SML TV. And let's get the show on the road. As I was getting ready for this broadcast, I got a news flash thing on my phone. I just heard Peter Green died. Did you guys know this? You guys know who Peter Green was? He was a very famous character actor. He did films. He played opposite Jim Carrey in the very famous film The Mask. He was the villain. He was the bad guy in The Mask, and I thought he did a terrific job in that film. He was a bad cop in Training Day opposite Denzel Washington. He was in Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. He was a ubiquitous actor, and unfortunately, I just heard he died yesterday, and he was 60 years old. And very sad news about that. Tell me if you heard about that. Tell me if you guys heard about that. Somebody says it's not clear here. Simon, I don't forget to add the KK flavor. Today, here we go. I'll get this. Let me highlight this comment here. Okay, here we go. It says, today, I've got you on the live. Most of the time, I watch a rebound. How are you? I'm well. Thank you. Are we connected? Are we? Good afternoon. It's actually Mwewa. I do not have an L in my name. It's an honest mistake. Most people, well, not most, a lot of people make that mistake. And that's fine. But my name is Mwewa without the L. Somebody says, yeah, that guy. Yeah, Peter Green. He just died yesterday. And I'm very sad to hear that. Let's get the show on the road, guys. The first thing I want to talk to you about, as you know, before I get into my dissertation, what I love to do is I love to sort of, you know, brush over a few current topics. Did you guys hear about this student, a 19-year-old student attending a university called Mulungushi University over there in, I think it's Kapirimposhi, got pregnant, and she delivered her child. She went to the bathroom, stood on top of a toilet, a commode, and she expelled the child from her, and the baby fell into the water and drowned and died. Now, what I find sad about the story is, now, notwithstanding, I wouldn't claim to know what it feels like to be pregnant. When you're 19 years old and you're a medical student and you've fallen pregnant and you don't know who to turn to, you don't know who to sort of seek shelter with, you don't know who to discuss the matter with, you panic, not to create excuses, but what my point is this: a 19-year-old doesn't really think things through the way that a regular adult would. In her panic, she decided to just go ahead and stand on top of a toilet and let the baby fall out of her into the toilet water. She waited a while, picked it up out of the toilet, and then went and dumped it. You're not going to believe this. Dumped the dead baby in a trash bin located not too far from her hostel. A hostel is like a dormitory. In Zambia, we call them hostels. And a garbage guy sifting through the garbage came across the dead baby. And he picked it up, took it to the police. The police came through. They interviewed many people, and they came to talk to this girl who very quickly confessed that she was the one that did this. Now, her testimony, not her testimony, her statement to the police, very misleading because, she's scared. Of course, she's going to tell half-truths and not be as forthcoming. She would be less than honest. She proceeded to tell the police that, because they asked her, they said, did you unalive the child, then dump the child? What did you do? She said, well, when the baby came out of me and dropped into the water, I wasn't sure if it was dead or alive. Well, of course the baby's going to be unalived if you let it fall in water. It's going to drown. And she said after a while, she picked it up out of the commode and then dumped it. And the case, this is a clear-cut case of a girl that got pregnant and she got scared. She didn't know what to do. She didn't know who to talk to. And she thought that by dumping the child, her so-called problem would just disappear and go away. How many people know that it never disappears and it never goes away? Interestingly enough, I was watching she's a famous TikToker now. Well, she's a Zambian TikTok. I wouldn't say she's famous, but she's on Zambian TikTok. And she was giving a testimony about her life. She spent 2 years in prison for the very same thing, except in her case, when she dumped the unalived child, the newborn child, this is gonna sound gruesome. It's gonna be gruesome as hell. But this is what happened. A dog, a neighborhood dog, she dumped the child not too far from her house. This is a different lady now. This is different from the 19-year-old medical student at Mulungushi University. I'm not talking about her. Okay, I've put that on the back burner for a second. Now I'm talking about another case that is tethered to this case. I'm going somewhere with this, so stay with me. So this other girl, who's a famous TikToker, and she's very forthright about this. I mean, she talks about this very openly. This happened to her a few years ago. She dumped the baby not too far from her house, and the neighborhood dog, believe it or not, picks up the body of the baby and brings it right back to the doorstep of this woman. Can you believe this? And so the neighbors, they see this dog with this baby in its mouth. And it takes it right to the doorstep of the mother. And the way it works here in the compounds in America, they call them the ghettos. In Zambia, we call them, they call it the ghetto. In Zambia, we call them compounds. In South Africa, they call them townships. In townships, in the ghetto, when things like that happen, the whole neighborhood is involved. There is no secret in the ghetto. The moment that happened, everybody and their mama's pet showed up at the front door of that girl's house. She comes out and the dog is standing there with the baby in its mouth. And she just broke down. She couldn't believe it. And the neighbors started screaming, you killed the baby, you did this, that, and the other. They called the police, had her arrested. Homegirl went to court, sentenced to 2 years in prison. She came out and she became a TikToker. And this is a story that she consistently talks about. She's very open with it. And I guess for her, it's therapeutic or something like that. What's the lesson here? I know it's easy to say. It's easier to say than do. Okay. But talk to someone. When you're pregnant at 19, it's not the end of the world. It may seem tragic. And in many cases, it is. But it's not the end of the world. There is a path to hope. Ooh, that's a good one there. That'll preach. Don't give me a pulpit, because I will throw down right here, right now. All hope is not lost. You don't have to go down that dark road. You know, sometimes you have to look beyond the incident. So my advice is talk to someone. Find someone that you can trust, that you can talk to and say, this is what I'm struggling with. Help me get through it. Hold my hand through this storm. And oh, honey, it's a storm, but you'll get through it. We all do. All right. I thought I'd share that with you. Any comments on that? I just want to highlight a few comments. Somebody says it was the neighbor's doorstep. Really? Are you familiar with this guy? She told it on TikTok the way I've narrated it to you. She said the dog brought it to her doorstep. That's what I remember. Somebody says, why dump the baby? Take the baby to a church. Well, you know, here's the thing. And this is good advice. This is very good advice. But my point is, you know, these young kids, their frame of mind doesn't think like that. They're looking for an escape that will completely divorce them from the situation. In their minds, this kid probably thinks, as long as I dump the child, I leave the child somewhere else, it means the problem goes away. Honey, it never goes away. If you're watching this broadcast now, whoever you are, and you're in that situation, trust me, it never goes away. It's going to come right back at you and it'll bite you in the butt. It will. Talk to someone. Get help. There are lots of people out there that can help you. I know it's difficult. I know it appears insurmountable. And I know somebody's going, well, Simon, how would you know? You're not a woman. Well, I'm an adult and I've lived 56 years. This ain't my first rodeo. I've been around a long time, seen lots of things, seen the sun come up more times than most. So I'm saying to you, it's not the end. Talk to somebody. You got to serve. You got to talk to somebody is what you got to do. All right. That's sad. It's heartbreaking indeed. You ain't lying. Tell you what. All right. Let's, I just wanted to bring this to you. Munduble's grand claims. Many of you know the member of parliament from Porokoso. He's an MP from Porokoso. His name is Brian Munduble. He's running for president of the Patriotic Front. He wants to be the nominee, the presidential nominee of the party, the PF. There are many people like him that are scrambling for that position. And in an effort to do that, they are trying, including Brian Munduble. Brian Munduble and his homeboys are trying everything within their power to appear and sound politically relevant. So they make these great, grand, outlandish, baseless, evidenceless claims. Evidenceless, not evidentless, evidenceless claims. What am I talking about? Well, you know, I wouldn't even call it a controversial bill. The constitutional amendment, Bill 7, is contentious only because the opposition are trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. If you read the provisions in that bill, in Bill 7, if you read the clauses in there, trust me, there is nothing, well, I'm not going to say trust me, but you read it for yourself. You know, don't take my word for it. You read it. You can read. There is nothing detrimentally contentious about that bill. Nothing. The only reason Brian Munduble and his homeboys are opposing it in the way that they are is because they're from the opposition. And what is the job of the opposition? My father used to say this. The job of the opposition is to oppose. Alaba politics kuti yakupenya. Alaba politics aya kuti wapena fe wafe nempanga. Bati fiengere kwizati yona pena. Chinshi. Kaima politics. Ali pero mwine. Uyo ayoyo. Aya nempanga. He's gone with the bush. The number one job of the opposition is to oppose. Of course, now there are times when that is warranted. Opposition is warranted in certain incidences, and then that's the reason that they exist. We do not live in a totalitarian state. We don't live in a one-party state. We don't have kings, emperors, and sultans here. This Zambia is a democracy, and thus it requires opposition to some degree. But opposition within the confines of reason, not opposition for the sake of opposition. For instance, this Brian Munduble, what he's done is that he claims this is a very well-educated lawyer, okay? Brian Munduble is not a spring chicken. What's going on with my, oh, I need to put this on here. Sorry, guys. How do I get rid of the thingamabob? It's got a 10-second timer thing. How do I get rid of that? Oh, for goodness sake. Sorry, guys. I don't like it when it disturbs my flow here. I don't know how to fix it. It's got a 10-second timer thing on there. All right. So I'm just going to go with it. Brian said he claims that there is a senior member of the UPND. Now, the UPND are the ruling, they are the current administration. The UPND stands for United Party for National Development. That party is the current ruling party here in Zambia. The president of Zambia is Hakainde Hichilema. He comes from the UPND. Brian Munduble claims that the UPND have a UPND senior member has gone around dishing out money to buy the support of UPND members of parliament in order for this bill to be passed. Now, this is not coming from the street. This isn't a rumor coming from a bus driver. Oh, no, honey. This is coming from the lips of a seasoned, well-educated lawyer vying for the presidency of his political party, in turn vying for the presidency of the country. This is a man that's making these outlandish, baseless, evidenceless claims. He says a senior member of the UPND has gone around dishing out money in order for the party to support and make sure that this bill passes. Not only that, Brian Munduble contends, he says that there are members of the UPND who are in opposition of this proposed bill. And those members have been oiled to convince them. That doesn't even make any sense. He further goes on to say, Hakainde Hichilema should stop focusing on Bill 7. He should instead talk about the energy crisis that we have. He should talk about the truck drivers' plight. He should talk about the homeless situation. Basically, Brian Munduble is saying President Hakainde Hichilema should down tools on he should down tools on Bill 7 and focus on every other issue ailing the Zambian people. Well, that's like walking into a house. That's like Brian walking into a home and saying to the man of the house, you know what I think? I think you shouldn't shop on Tuesdays. You should do your shopping on Saturdays. This Tuesday thing's not going to work. Who's Brian Munduble to tell HH, stop focusing on Bill 7? Who is he? I mean, for who? For why? For what for? That is ridiculous. That doesn't even make any sense whatsoever. In my view, if Brian Munduble does not have the evidence to back up this outlandish claim, Kuti, there's a senior, and this is what I find amazing, is that they'll always say, no, there's a senior member of the UPND. Well, if you know the senior member, why not name him? Name him. Tell us who he is. Don't speak in ambiguity. Do you know what the word ambiguity means? Don't speak in gray areas. Don't flip-flop. Just be straight. Black or white, no gray area. Don't be ambiguous. Don't put us in a position where we doubt what you're saying. Say what you mean. The word of God says, let your yes be yes and let your no be no. Oh, no, not Brian. Brian's going around talking about how, oh, I know, there's a senior member. Honey, if you knew the senior member of the UPND who was actually dishing out money, you would name him. How do I know this? Well, because that's your nature, isn't it? I mean, that's your job as the opposition, is to bring out checks and balances, isn't it? But you're not doing it. Instead, you are wallowing in the cesspool of ambiguity. Oh, that's a good one. Listen, don't give me a pulpit. I'll go off on you. I will throw down right here, right now. You are wallowing in the cesspool of ambiguity. You owe it to your constituents to be forthright, to be straight, but you're not doing it. This is ridiculous, Brian, and you know it. Absolutely ridiculous. All right. What's the next topic? Tonse opts for FDD in Chawama by-elections. Have you heard this? You know what I find interesting about this Tonse alliance? You guys know it's a conglomeration of has-beens. It's basically a cluster of rejects. It is a congregation. Tonse Alliance is a congregation of a bunch of losers, basically is what they are. What it is, you get 10 losers, and then you put them together, you get Tonse. A bunch of deplorables, these kids. So what they're saying is that they have decided to field a candidate in Chawama. You remember Chawama has been recently declared vacant by the National Assembly. Nelly Muti, not too long ago, declared that because of Tarsila Lungu's prolonged absence from her post as Member of Parliament for Chawama, Parliament, National Assembly, declared that seat, that parliamentary seat, vacant because its Member of Parliament, Tarsila Lungu, has been missing since June of 2025. And the people of Chawama need representation. Tarsila Lungu turned around and said, oh, I can represent my people virtually. I can Zoom call my people. Well, honey, look, I know we're living in a post-COVID world, but there are certain things you can't do by Zoom as a member of parliament. Some things, as a member of parliament, sometimes you need to be present. You need to be tangible. You need to be reachable. People need to feel you. They need to see you, hear you speak, smell your breath. You can't do all of that through Zoom, which is what Tarsila was suggesting. Well, National Assembly said, no, we're going to declare it vacant. So now the seat has been declared vacant. January the 15th, 2026, next year, is the election day on how the people of Chawama are going to decide. The FDD, Tonse Alliance, has decided to choose as a, what do they call it? They called it a special purpose vehicle. What the hell is that? Tonse Alliance calls FDD a special purpose vehicle that will lead them to victory on January the 15th, 2026. That's not the only thing that's confusing about Tonse. Do you realize that the chairman of Tonse is given Luwinda? The acting president of PF is given Luwinda. I mean, they're a bunch of sorry sods, these guys. They don't know whether they're coming or going. It's an absolute mess. It is a congregation of deplorables. They don't know what they're doing. They're lost in the wilderness, and it's going to take forever to find them, honestly. Anyway, I thought I'd share that with you. What's the last one? Did I not have a last one? Wasn't there a last one? Yeah, I think that's about it. All right, a few comments. Tonse Alliance says, you ain't lying. Tell you what. Can you imagine? That's a very typical Zambian response. Just imagine, Kuti special purpose vehicle. Kuti the FDD is the special purpose vehicle that is going to lead the Tonse Alliance to a victory on January 15th, 2026. There in Chawama. I mean, the jokers are joking. Be serious. Now, notwithstanding, you know, I mean, Chawama could vote any way they want, you know. I mean, they could spring a surprise on us, you know. And that's normal in a democracy. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The people of Chawama will speak on January the 15th, 2026. And we'll see how the score comes out. All righty. Somebody says the citizens of Zambia should take him to court for spreading falsehood if he does not provide the evidence. Hear, hear. Can we drink to that? Let's drink to it. Hear, hear. I mean, I've heard of opposition politics, but don't fabricate for the sake of fabrication. I mean, put some backbone into it. Back it up with something, not just platitudes, not just hearsay, not just innuendo, political rhetoric. Back it up with something, man. You are a seasoned, learned lawyer. You're not just some geek off the street. You're not some junkyard dog trying to bark its way out of the mess. You got to be handed with the steel, if you know what I mean. Earn your keep. You got to regulate, Brian. I'm telling you right now, you have to regulate. You need to mount up and regulate. All right. Thought I'd share that with y'all. Watching from Dundumwezi. I like the way you articulate issues. Keep it up. Thank you, sir. We love you in Ndola. Thank you, Ndola. Guys, thanks for watching. God bless. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday. This is a salute, by the way. When I do this on the street, they think that I'm throwing up a UPND forward sign when I do this, when I salute. But I usually fist bump. And when I fist bump, they think it's a PF sign. When I fist bump on the street, they're like, oh, you for the tower pool. I said, no, man, relax. It's just a fist bump. And this is a salute sign. Love you guys. Bye.